Okay. Good. Happy freaking Saturday, everybody. Happy freaking Saturday. I am happy to be here with you guys. We got a lot to go over, okay? Now, as you can see, I put a little bit of thought into my session today. It's called Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City because today is one of the days that everybody break their neck to impress people when I feel like you should go out of your way every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anything can happen to you from one second to the next, and tomorrow's not promised. So, why not go out of your way for somebody every day? Why not make it a, a goal to get what you want? A goal to at least express interest, a goal to spark a conversation, those types of, especially when it's genuine. We don't want that fake shit. Okay, keep that over there. All right. So we got a lot to uncover. We're going to get to the lovey-dovey stuff in the end, but I feel like that's not important. The love we need to radiate is definitely for each other. But as far as getting into the bedroom tonight, that's the last should be on our minds. Okay. Um, I wanted to catch you guys up and let you know that as I've been talking about me fighting for my son, for justice for my son, I have been getting some responses, and it's not the responses that I was looking for. But as you can see, I have been working behind the scenes. And with that being said, I'm going to just leave it there because I feel like it's a very crucial moment or time. And we in spiritual warfare, and as much information as I release, I have to be very, very um, calculated with when I release it and how I release it because not every eye, not every watching eye is here for my better interest. And I got to remember that. And I know that now. And I'm going to move like that. Okay. So, with that being said, let's get into our session. It was a couple of things that stood out to me. I'm reading the news articles. I'm going through some personal things in life, and I wanted to all make it make sense. So today, let's start off. We are going to start off. Okay, let's talk about my hometown, Baltimore, Maryland. I know I wanted to start off a little. Well, yeah, let's talk about it. And I feel like DC. I'm going to remind everybody. DC is the one place that anything that they needed to implement on everybody else started in DC. When I heard that commercial that said, "Oh my gosh, they're driving 25 miles an hour all around DC. I can't take this. Like they going slow everywhere." And the other guy, he was saying something. I made a video about it and it kind of blew up on TikTok because once I started saying, okay, it's not just DC, it's here in Baltimore too, that's when everybody else from all the other states started saying it's happening in my state as well. And the traffic thing really, 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 it stuck out to me because I automatically felt restricted within my own rights. It does, see, for me to feel like somebody is taking my freedom away, I can feel like a closure in on my art. Like it's a closure in on the things that I was able to do before that I can't do now. And I pick up on that shit quick because I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel by heart. Like I'm one of those people that don't I don't need rules or instructions unless I'm trying to learn what to do. But otherwise, I figure that shit out. So when something is happening around me that is restricting those same comforts that I had, I notice it quick. And it does not matter if it's in my immediate space, in my city, or in my world. I don't know why. I just feel that shit. And I aligned the traffic and them slowing it down with an attack. I automatically felt like This person trying to box me in. This person, and I don't know. You can ask a veteran fighter. You can ask. You can look at animals outside in their wild. You can just look at people who are being preyed or different subjects that's being preyed, and watch their moves when they feel that their territory is being impeded on, when their freedoms are being restricted, they tend to automatically get defensive and get in defense mode and be ready to strike back. The thing is, I've realized that a lot of people are very numb to everything. They are numb. And let me give you an example before I get back to this, to what I was saying. Yesterday, my daughter was in my room. I was getting dressed, and one of her friends had called her and was like, "Yeah, such and such. I don't know what happened or whatever, whatever. Like I forgot. Like my mind just blanked out." And the kids around me, they went in the bathroom. I mean, they immediately ran and they told. And my daughter was like, "So what happened?" She was like, "I was standing outside the bus, and such came up to me, and he said he was going to shoot me. He was going to shoot me." And I don't know what she did in those moments from the time he said that. And apparently it's a kid that both my daughter and this girl knows. And I'm not sure if it's their friend or just somebody they know. But the kids around them, their parents are teaching them something, because they went and ran and told the teachers and stuff. And this girl is just like, her tone, I'm just listening, and her tone was more like, yeah, like they the ones that told. I had to go after they told. I had to go and tell them everything that happened, but I forgot. I kind of like blinked out. I don't even know what happened. So he got in trouble and he got suspended. And I'm like, "Are you?" I was like, "Who is that?" I had to make sure I knew her, and then I did. And then I was like, "Are you taking up for him? Because it sounds like you're not as upset at him saying that he would do that to you as the other kids." And she was like, "He ain't going to do nothing. I knew he wasn't going to do nothing. Like, that's such and such." Like, no, absolutely not. And this goes hand in hand with the lack of attention and the lack of readiness, preparedness that we give our children. At no end should your child be okay with anybody. I don't care if it's a friend, a neighbor, a person at the supermarket they go to all the time. I don't give a fuck. Should tell your child that they are going to shoot them, and your child should feel like they should get a pass. You should instill self respect and boundaries within your child. And also the fact that if anyone was to say that to them, never take a threat like that lightly. Never take a threat like that lightly. If that same child was to say that to a teacher, that child would be suspended. If that same child was to say that to any adult in some type of official, um, or just, we know, like any adult that's willing to do it, that child would get charges pressed on them. If that child was to say that to their parent, depending on who that parent is, will be getting the fuck up off the floor in a week. So, with that being said, it should not take you to feel like you should have a level of self-respect when you grow up. That respect starts soon as your feet hit this, as soon as you take a breath of air in this space, you deserve respect. And it goes hand in hand with people not really taking um, children's feelings, or valid, or showing them that they are important. But it's so many levels and reasons to why the communication just was like, this girl didn't know that she's in middle school. So what is the abuse, or what is she going to be able to take when she get in high school? Like, what are people going to be able to say to her when she get in the 10th grade, 11th grade? And then not only that, what is she going to hold in? See, when you hold these things in, sometimes, depending on who it is, they can fester. A joke can very much have truth in it, and we've seen that time and time again. So for her to take that lightly, somebody need to talk to her. And I jumped in and I was like, you need to go tell your mom and your dad. She has both of them. And that little boy needs to know to never say that to any student around him in the time that he is in that school, and stop using them words so loosely, because the next person might not take that so lightly or so friendly. And he might say that to somebody and those might be his last words. So the I feel like the overall numbness to things that require some type of get back is definitely at an all-time low. We can take information that should cause you to jump out of bed, laying down, eating some Dunkin' Donuts and drinking Starbucks through a thick straw. Like this is what it's turned into. And the fact that it takes so much community, like talking, to even to get two brain sparks to two brain cells to make a spark. It says a lot about the overall state of what we are in. Okay, and this is the reason why when your freedoms or things like that is impeded on, you don't feel it. You're numb to it. You need somebody to tell you. You need somebody that don't look like you to sing the national anthem on American TV for you to be like, oh my gosh. You need a black national anthem for you to be like, oh my, to understand that your freedom is taken away. And me using that black national anthem, it's a double standard. I understand. I know how it sounds. But think about the people that don't belong here and think about it being reversed. Because when we do stand up to celebrate black national anthems, it's our justice, right? For what was taken from us. So it should make other people feel restricted, and that's rightfully so. But for the totality of what American stands for to feel rocky because we have other countries coming in making us feel that way is absolutely fucking bonkers. It's bonkers. It means that there was no disciplinarians, there's no custodians in the house, there's no true, like, what the fuck is really going on? And that's what I've been saying. I'm not a politician. I'm just somebody that lived in Baltimore City for 40 fucking years, right? So when I'm looking at that shit and I'm seeing Africans, see, Africans got that melanation in their skin. So they not scared to go and make a video to say, hey, if I hate you niggas, I hate you niggas, right? That, which means she identifies with white people. And I've worked in a motherfucking nursing, I've worked in a nursing home, and I've heard a black ass African, and this is when I was in my 20s and I never understood it. Dark skinned motherfucker too. In the hallway talking to another African. And I guess they was making jokes or I don't know. But he was like, I'm not black. I'm not black. And I'm like, well, what the hell are you? And I never understood that these people, some of them identify as European, as white. If you look on a lot of their identities, it says white. And that goes into the etymology of words. But that's not what I'm here to preach about. That's not my thing, unless I do go and study it. But at the end of the day, it's like, wow. So I'm seeing videos saying, if I was to have a bomb, I wish I could get all you niggas in the corner and strap a bomb to my chest because we would die. Which means that my rightful mind, my rightful first thoughts about people being sacrificial. I mean, come on now. You got to think of the history of some of these things. Like, we've seen some of these people in planes and they're in planes. Unless these was AI robots back then, we've seen them sacrifice themselves. We've even seen white people sacrifice themselves in fire, dousing themselves in fire and burning to a complete crisp because they were standing for something that did not look like them. People are confused. People are confused, and I don't, is the irrationality is not just coming from its own self. It's developed because we have been hijacked on so many vibrational levels, energetic levels, spiritual levels, and it has caused a lot of people to become blind. So I want to send love and light to all the teachers that are teaching about growth, about connections, about what's really going on, what's really happening in these streets, about the truth. Because guess what? The truth is going to set us free. The people that's keeping us in a loop and keeping us confused, they ain't going to do nothing but keep you in this damn matrix. Somehow they're benefiting. And that's what you got to start looking at. You can't just sit up there and take information and be like, oh yeah, because that's how I used to be. I used to get infatuated by a punchline or something that somebody said, and they had me hooked. They had me stuck. And then I don't know, something inside of me will automatically, it's like my higher self would unclick from that. It would just like unravel from whatever the fuck it was. And sometimes I would get so caught up in, I know my energy is potent. So when I come into even an online space, I could come into a total stranger's space and give them a compliment or say something that's true. Like what I'm saying is very true. It's very out of my heart. So it connects to people and they feel that shit. And some people think it's supposed to be, I'm supposed to be there every day glorifying them, worshiping them, all of these things, when it really for me was like a one-time thing. And maybe I followed them, maybe I connected with them a little bit too much, and I should have just let it be a random thing. And that's the thing. Like I need to start detaching. So once I can understand how when you in a space, you feel like you got to be all in it because now you're known. Now you people know who you are. You identify. It's okay to back the fuck out. Motherfuckers that's doing bad things, that's doing snake things, that's lying and confusing people. They know exactly what they're doing, and they understand when you take your attention away or when you take your energy away, what that means. They understand that on a deeper soul level, and hopefully the more people that have that awakening, these people will go in and do some introspection and change who they are. Because right now, we need a collaborative effort to collapse whatever the fuck is happening in the United States. We have never had bomb threats before that I know of. Maybe we did, correct me if I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, it is worse than that. See, my vision of these traffic wars not only stops at them trying to exhaust our funds from having us, running red lights and car breakdowns and accidents and going through the tolls and all of the other things that comes about them directing and controlling the traffic. And not only that, to control it even more, I've been reading news articles about whole lanes, whole streets being closed down, things like that. They are trying their hardest to control the flow. Now, I have not really been outside to travel and driving in almost a month now. Since that storm hit, God has granted me the serenity. I thank you, Most High, for crowning me and covering me and keeping me protected and safe, glorified, and enlightened. That it has been a catastrophe. So I don't know what is. I can assume that it's really really restricted outside. I got a dose of it yesterday when I was in a back seat to see just the heinous things that are still continuing to happen. And you have to also incorporate now that the Super Bowl has happened. So all of these men that already was running around off of extra testosterone, but mixed with femininity and sassiness too. Now they have spite, they have ignorance, they have a lot of stees in their chest because of that Super Bowl that just went down. So it's a lot of patriarchy, hurt feelings, and anger out here. So we're riding down the street and it's a long street, and this guy looks like to me one of the guys that sit in the parking lot and he watches people who come down the street at regular pace, comes out of the parking lot in front of the car that was driving I was in, and goes like he goes so slow. It could have just caused the accident. It's a car full of us, and it's a car full of us with kids in there, and you just come out and stop like that. And then he put his little white arm out and was like, "Come on, like come around the car." Like he had something in the car with him. We didn't ask for this. We just coming from where we was coming from, going down the street, and this is what we get. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm sorry you had to go through this. At this point, I have to question, is this happening because I'm in a car, or is this just the common attitude of Baltimore and the surrounding areas right now? Especially when you get in certain areas around certain people and you feel outnumbered, which is why I keep talking to my people every day, which is why somebody keeps showing up on my live every time I come, and they're probably trying to manipulate my views and things like that. They're coming here. Okay. So as I read these territories that's watching me, and I'm finding out where people are located, it's making me like, could it be? Because at the end of the day, I've put some things together of people like celebrities that I feel that have been watching me, playing on my energy and shit like that. And it's so freaking crazy how they're showing up in my city. It's crazy. Like, so am I far fetched from thinking this stuff? Or am I just on to something? Because I'm seeing them showing up in my city. Wow. Thank God for protecting me, Most High. And the sun is shining so freaking bright. But what I want y'all to understand is the proximity of people that hate us, and the fact that they've even said, I mean, this girl, Black African, looks normal, like she would shop at any beauty supply, hang out at any place that blacks would hang at, and also probably a mix of Africans as well. Says she fucking hate us. Let's die, niggas. If she had us in a motherfucking group, she would strap a bomb to her chest and blow the fuck up with all of us too. So she's sacrificial, and that can happen. So it makes me wonder. I mean, depopulation control is a thing. They want to depopulate the United States to create the New World Order. So I don't know if you've been taking account of the people that have been dying all around the world. I mean, they have been taking these people, and you got to take a lot of them in order to bring all the countries together to make one common thing. And there's a lot of things that is helping to piece these things together. These AI societies, that is what's going to piece these things together. Once they have enough of you, they have enough people in agreement that want to make these AI, it's like all one mind. I forgot what it's called, but I remember a long time ago when I had a Facebook, there was this weird group I was in, and they was talking about it. Like this is like before 2020 or maybe around. I cannot wait till our minds are connected with AI. And I'm like, what the fuck am I in? This is when like Taylor Tequila was coming up talking about all that shit and all that around those times. Okay. And look how far into the future we are now. And certain things have went quiet. Certain things have went underground. I want you to understand that Africa, especially South Africa, is one of the major parts that they're doing those AI experimentations in. So to understand where people are coming from and they're being planted in your cities and states, you have to understand like the history. That's going to show you what is leading up to. Now, to put an AI into a person and bring them up to cities would be great to do, because guess what? We can test them. And then if they ever got into a fight, we could also test the super strength of whatever is implanted in them. Soft longevity. There's things like that that's being, I think it's called soft log AI longevity. Okay. It's the same things that was in those files. And now the more and more of you people that need the news and need a celebrity and need a famous person to tell you, read the fact that Epstein was in a lot of the things that The people that say we're getting gang stalk, we're getting direct energy waves hitting to us, we're this, that, are have been telling you for years, then it's gonna be like, oh my God, the Epstein files taught us. Like you're gonna forget about all those people because your pride and ego won't allow you to say they was right the whole time. And just like this, with this traffic, I feel like they are testing. I mean, come on now, they got Teslas. They have the Teslas out there. Those Teslas are like mobile data centers. I'm pretty sure the data is being used to create other things, to launch other projects. The projects, the information, the thing about this stuff, as much as you guys, and I'm glad that we do have leaders that are out there going into the Epstein files, opening this stuff up for people to see, opening their minds. We have to open their minds like a flower in order for these seeds to be implemented. So thank you guys that are doing your work as well, because I don't have the time to go into that shit. It's not my, it don't, like, it don't make or break me. I've been new, and it's probably like your neighbors and shit doing the same thing. And you talk about fucking Epstein. The whole time your neighbors are doing it. The whole time your fucking principal that you drop your teachers, your school, your kids off to every, like, you're wondering why the schools are getting implemented with so much LGBTQ staff. You're wondering why the LGBTQ wave even came a thing. Like, why did we need to know about your sex life and what you fucking prefer? Just show up looking like a unicorn, bitch. Like, all I give a fuck. For real. Like, I would have accepted the fact that I'm working with a unicorn than a fucking pervert. It probably would have flew over a little bit better, but they wanted us to know that we are in there with fags and twinks and this and that. Like, for what? Because they want to open up our mind to that shit. They want to, it's almost like sticking a finger in a butt and see what we going to do. And a bunch of y'all just kept your butts open. You kept the finger in that butt, didn't you? And this is the reason why you don't see when you are getting subtly attacked. You don't see that because the finger is still in your butt. And all the while you have like a can of nacho cheese just sprayed in your mouth, like they're keeping you fed. And this is where you have to like become unfed. I feel that the summertime may be revolutionary. I just have that feeling because you have a lot of people that have awakened to the bullshit, and let alone that, because we have help, we have the paid actors here. We don't know what kind of shit is gonna pop off. We've already seen them wipe out groups of us over the years since 2020, with masked men jumping out of their cars, shooting up groups of 5 and 6 and 7 people in spaces like down the hill, West Baltimore. It's spaces like where the blacks hang. And nobody was found, nobody was caught. This shit wasn't on the news again. I mean, was these people like fucking, was they fake people that you shot? Like, what the fuck is going on? Why isn't no one even talking about that? So if they've done it then, nobody's talking about it, nobody's bringing it up, nobody's outraged. What do you think is going to happen now with all the shit that's going on that they've set up for us? They've set the booby traps up. And I'm telling you, the snow, they probably did more, way worse to us. You know, it's almost like when they told us to go in a house and COVID and quarantine for all that long. And we came back out and it was a fucking new world. We don't know what the fuck these assholes have done over the time that I know I've been in the house for a minute. I can't be the only one. You know, granted, my daughter's school broke down and it's still broke. But at the end of the day, it's like, come on now. I can't be the only one because people were snowed in their houses. A lot of things. I'm not saying they got a full month off of it, but I'm just saying. But yeah, I feel like if people do not start waking up to the fact that everyone is not a comrade, everyone is not a friend. You know, you have to understand the hearts, and this is why they tell you to test the spirits. Like, what does this person talk about? What is this person doing? What is, like, even if it was a joke, to come back and turn back around because you knew you was going to get the heat. You knew you was going to get the fucking smoke. To even say it was a joke that you wanted to blow us up or whatever, and you fuck with us or whatever, because I don't know. I just feel like that could have been said. Yo, like I said, with the gunshot thing, every it's truth in every joke. How many times have you heard a story time where a friend is saying, yeah, this, that, or the other, my friend said she was going to do this to me, that to me, and then later on in the story time it happened or some shit. I mean, come on now. Context clues, put two and two together. Were you good in English? What reading language arts? I don't know. Read some books. Figure the shit out. Because we need to start bringing shit together quick. Now, I've never really heard of a sleeper cell until I started bringing up topics and talking to a larger crowd about things like gang stalking and da 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 da. Never heard of a sleeper cell. But shit, something told me. Something fucking told me. Okay. Here we go. All right. So yeah, like I said, I've never heard of a sleeper cell. So let me tell you right now what a sleeper cell is. Okay. Okay, let me see. What's a sleeper cell? So, a sleeper cell is a group of covert, undercover operatives who infiltrate a target country or society and remain dormant, sleeping, while living normal humans, often for years. These agents wait for a prearranged signal or event to activate them to perform espionage, sabotage, or terrorism. Okay? Now, as we can see, that these prearranged signals, they range from espionage to terrorism. So that means that they can be on a very softer act of coming against us of terrorism. I guess espionage isn't that. I don't know what the fuck is espionage. Let's be honest. I don't know what that shit is. The practice of spying or the practice of spying or using spies, typically by governments, to obtain political and military information. So there we go. This is why I say when you have groups of people and you see that one odd person in your group, why the fuck are they there? They're infiltrators to me. Some people do not have to work for the government in order to be a fucking infiltrator. You have to understand bloodline, race, and what their main purpose in life is. Those are infiltrators, natural born. You don't have to be deemed that through an agency to be that. You have to understand. Now, when you have something going and you have one person that doesn't look like you there, and then all of a sudden that shit crumbles and falls and goes out of business or whatever, you have to understand it was the work of that person. It was the work of the infiltrator, of the espionage. Okay. So they come in different levels. When you're an espionage, you're a spy. That means you are gaining intel. You need to be in the places. Look how many times our data has been breached. Look how many, and I feel like this. They have those people working in the industries that are getting the data breach. Like they have to have a sender and a receiver. There are plants inside of the businesses that we know as American businesses today. There are plants in them. Trust and believe that shit. This is how they are being able to traffic people. Remember the girl that went to Cracker Barrel and all of a sudden she's on a meat truck going heading across the country somewhere? This is how they're able to, and trust me, this is like making our foods, even making our foods in these McDonald's and all these restaurants. You don't know what the fuck they doing to the foods, and these people are sleeper cells making the foods and serving us. You're going to the place, you don't give a fuck if a monkey is like, y'all sit up there and be like, oh my god, the DoorDash or the Uber had a dog in the car, but you letting motherfuckers that don't like you make your food. What kind of psychological flip of a switch is that? It's the same shit. It's the same shit, especially when a lot of these countries, they don't even have the same religion as you, and they can put any type of witchcraft, voodoo, all that shit, all up on your shit. and you eating it just because it's convenient and you can go get it. Like, yo, I know I do it sometimes, but I always think about it and I'm very, very selective about where I go. Also, I cook all my food most of the time. So just like over there, I got shrimp throwing out, shrimp tacos. Okay. Yes. Okay. And then even when I order out, let me give you a tip. I lie about my name. If I order, I know it's a certain restaurant, I will put like Drake Newton, or like, I will make a name up Clinton East. Like they're like, oh, this is for Clinton, never knowing this for Trishawn and Dandridge. Because I feel like I've ordered food in some of these restaurants that have been selected to, they know who I am or whatever. They've done shit to my food. I've had, especially this one Pizza Hut, I've had weed in my pizza box, and I go over there. The boy go try. The manager tries to tell me it was their seasoning. Like the fuck, I don't know what weed look like. Like what would make you that comfortable to do that to me? You have to. It got to be an inside thing, yo. Like I don't think we pay attention enough, and having enough downtime, saying no to things that's fucking with your freedoms and shit will make you have that, will create the downtime. But because you say yes to things and go into these, into the matrix so much, it's keeping you distracted. So another thing is the sabotage. The sabotage is just what it is: to destroy, damage, or obstruct something, especially for political or military advantage. Now, I've showed y'all these little kids that don't come from here going around to the senior buildings. Sabotage, they are obstructing the property. I've had seniors, when I'm in the building selling life insurance, tell me those kids have set fires in the senior buildings. Why would they need the seniors in state unstable? Because they would be the next population to be experimented on, and also the most vulnerable population to be controlled. Independent seniors is a problem. They're taking away funding. They need them sabotage. So get these people that don't look like you over here. Their children. We hear the kind of music. Look up the lyrics to the songs that was on the freaking Super Bowl. You'll see the type of lyrics it is. The children are listening to that shit. It's like my dick going to grab my dick like a baton. This is what the kids are listening to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought it was a cool beat. I didn't know until people started pointing it out about some of the lyrics. And then I went to look at the lyrics. I'm like, oh, this man is talking shit. It just rhymes in their language, but in ours, that shit is foul. Like, we don't even talk like that. Like back to back to back type of shit. So their kids they hear that, and your kids are going to school with them. What the fuck do you, like? I'm just trying to figure out. Okay. And then also, what's the last thing? Terrorism. So what is terrorism? Terrorism is the calculated use of violence or the threat of violence against civilians or property to create intense fear, intimidate a population, or coerce governments and international organizations to advance specific political ideological, let's say this with me. I don't use this word a lot. Ideological. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. Or religious objectives. Now, I feel like this. The intimidation to a certain population that goes hand in hand with the obstruction of property and burning down buildings. What do you say? The fact that we cannot drive freely outside. Every time you drive, you have someone here in front of you. You go to get over. Not only are they on your side, they're in your blind side. These people have been programmed to cause obstruction. They know if they're in your blind side and the average American is not paying attention and just gets over out of frustration from being boxed the fuck in, they're going to fuck their car up. And not only that, they may be liable for the accident. And not only that, these people will fucking lie. I've been in an accident twice with these liars. They will lie. Okay, why wouldn't the space be targeted? Why wouldn't American space be targeted when we've seen since COVID how many people of how many different countries and nations have been let over here freely? They have been let over here freely. Why is that? Why at a time like now? Over the years, we've heard people like David Icke talk about the New World Order. We've seen movies about it. We've I mean, come on now. They've tried to come on to YouTube and say it's a Wikipedia fact that this is a conspiracy. And they've done that with a lot of things that these truth tellers used to put on their podium. They've done that. They put Wikipedia or tried to say it was not really facts, right? Because we've learned back in the day that anybody could go into Wikipedia and alter, the information there. So they try to make it like that. But we know the truth tellers that told us what they told us before. They went all over and tried to censor information. If you didn't know, there's no information that's really on the web before 2021. And that's for a reason. They want you to believe their agenda, which is a part of this terrorism that we are facing. That to me, the restriction and the withholding of information is definitely terrorism. And I feel that without this even happening, because one of the things that happened to me losing my son and not having information about life and death is wars in my mind. That is terrorism on my temple. And that is information that is withheld from me on purpose and every other person that came to this planet. We should have a book. Don't, when you buy a product, if we're a product of this planet, you get a guide. When they say when you pass away, you get a guide, but yet when you come into this life, the only guide you get is a regurgitation of what the person told you before. I feel that each guide is altruistic to each individual person and their purpose and where they're going. And it looks like that in the afterlife. But why isn't it not like that on this planet? Because we have regurgitated information. My mom didn't tell me anything else different from the next mom, for the next mom, for the next mom, for the most point. Now, culture wise, it might divvy, it might, differentiate, but that's it. Otherwise, it's regurgitated cookie cutter piece of shit ass information that I can't do shit with. And it's by fucking purpose. So I've always felt like I've been slighted some knowledge that I was been supposed to know. I go to church and fall asleep because really none of that stuff has anything to do with me. I know right from wrong. I don't need a handbook to tell me that. Tell me what the fuck I'm supposed to do here. Tell me what I'm supposed to do when I die. Tell me where we go when we die. The fuck? I'm not just okay with what people give me. I know what I want. All right. So, with that being said, I feel like that was pretty good. Look up the sleeper cell. Oh, sleeper cells. I'm not finished with that. And then we're going to go into the next thing. So, the key aspects of sleeper cells is this: deep integrations. They blend in completely with local population, appearing as ordinary citizens. And I'm gonna tell you, I went down the hill into Church Square, and there were a bunch of sleeper cells. I mean, these guys, what you could tell they was not black Americans, and they was dressed like us, everything in the parking lot. And when I went into the Hip Hop Chicken, I'm like, I think it's Hip Hop of New York. I went in there and I'm just staring everybody in their eyes because everybody that's walking in there is like non American. And I'm like, wow, this is the projects. This is the projects where I grew up. I grew up in Odessa Court where they knocked everything down with Mikes and Pandas and shit, right? On the corner of Easton and Caroline. And that shit go like the project's going. They got other projects there, but all the people don't look like us. That's a sleeper cell. Because the thing is, if you was to come into a space, it continue to look like yourself, dress like how y'all dress. Cool. We would understand there's a difference, but y'all be copying us down. And the only way you can tell is just looking in the facial features or if you hear that voice or something. Then you like, oh, okay. But you can tell because I mean, and then also the aggression, the attitude, the mood towards us. I feel that shit. I feel the heat. Okay. But the thing is, they get into these spaces, go down Lexington Market, and I'm just using um my city for an example. But they go into the spaces, the New York, the Northeast markets, the Lexington markets, the different places, the clubs and shit. Get in with the in people of the blacks so that it's hard. They can disguise themselves. It's almost like a private detective would that we see in these movies, and these people be thinking they have new best friends and shit, and they setting them up the whole time, and then at the end, they get locked up, and bitch, I'm gonna kill you, or I can't believe you did this, and the whole time it's like, yo, the signs were there. If you was spiritually in tune, energetically in tune, or just aware of your surroundings and the things that happen, you would understand the threats. You would never let them infiltrate. You would have some boundaries. And this is why Black people all collectively need to develop that self respect, gatekeeping boundary bone in their body. Because people have gotten too comfortable with understanding that, oh, this is the way, this is how you do it. They know us by now. Dormancy. They do not act immediately, often spending years or decades in place before receiving orders. And this is almost like a boyfriend that has overstayed his boundaries. Okay? Okay. That's just like a boyfriend. So any woman should be able to understand this one. A boyfriend that stayed over the years was playing your ass. He had a wife on the side, or somebody that he was just building himself up off of you, and then y'all break up, and then now he's with a wife. He played you. He was acting. You have to realize they told us it was more men than women, or more women than men. I think it's the opposite. Most of these men act like they disguise themselves as women, as other things. We see men just being full grown bears and fucking dogs. There's a man inside. So we can't even sit up there and say the population is what it is. We've all been lied to. The numbers have been lied to. So I feel like this. The men that they fucking, where was I going with this? Too much stuff's going on around me. Often spending years or decades in place before receiving orders. Yeah, the men that played you, they stayed with intentions to be like, okay, this girl, she got stability, she got a home, she has that is stability, she got food, comfort. I'm gonna stay here, heal, get myself together, and she think I'm with her. I'm just banging her. Right now, I got myself together over 2 years. I've been checking her out. She wifey material. I'm gonna go over here. It's like that. It's that type of mentality. These sleeper cells come and they have this type of dormancy where they can make you feel comfortable, where they can act, where it's natural. You know what I'm saying? But what kind of evil do you have to be to know that the whole time you there to set a motherfucker up? The paycheck gotta be real or the heart gotta be black. One or the other. Espionage history. While historically used by foreign intelligence services, used during the Cold War, the term is frequently applied to terrorist organizations. Now, espionage history, we can say, you know, we know about the secret societies, the organizations. Some of them we don't know because there's a lot of things that I'm just finding out that's happening that I'm going to connect to what makes sense to right now and why it does. Okay, what you making? Um, I'm hungry too, but I don't know. All right, I don't want no beef patty, no. And then you make them in a microwave. I don't like microwave food. I like mine's crispy. I don't like mine soft because the meat inside is like mystery meat. Okay, so purpose. They are designed to act unexpectedly, reducing the chance of detection by local authorities until it is too late. So again, this is a group that loves to have you caught off guard, hands tied behind your backs. They are just like the white supremacists. They don't want anybody to be ready, prepared. And this is why you have to energetically recognize them. You have to smell them, motherfuckers. You know how the Giants was? B545. I smell you, bitch. Here I come. They was on that ass. That's probably why they did like the Giants. Anything with a heightened sense, anything that can see this shit coming, they don't want around. That's why they trying to even reduce the animal traits of the animals. Like they want Dougs in shoes. Look, my Doug, she's still a Doug. They want them in shoes. They don't want them running. They want your Dougs laying on their back getting tickled all day. They don't want no vicious Dougs unless they own them. And guess what? They're even robotizing the dogs. Okay, not only they probably eating the dogs and robotizing the likeness of the dogs. So, on that note, let's get to. I just want everybody to understand, this shit is not cracked up to be. This is our freedom is being impeded on, okay? And I feel like a lot of children, a lot of moms feel it. A lot of mothers feel it in their soul. I've seen white dad or one white male. Now you got to be careful because sometimes this doesn't come with discernment. It comes with seeing people say it. I've been seeing a lot of black women say, "Get your kids out of public school." I've been seeing that shit all over TikTok. What this white guy suggested, though, I'm not going to take credit away from him, is that next year we all decline to put our kids back in school. Because he was thinking along the lines of, I did not hear any black moms say this. He on the lines of how we've had, terrorists, tornado. I don't know lives at, what side of the country or whatever, but maybe it's tornado prone. They smell so good. Oh, what you want to watch? Lifetime? Y'all be watching TV so much. The dog been turned on the TV. Yeah, so he was like, anything can happen. And what if something happens? Now, I said this when I got up and talked to y'all about the threats. What if something happens to this in the school? He said, even a few, and we can't get to our kids. Now, that's my number one train thought of mine. I don't know. I would just probably just try to sneak into school and get locked in there. Go ahead with my kid. Honestly, because this is something that I would not be able to deal with. And generally ask yourself a question while you still can ask yourself that question. What would you do if something was to happen in your child's school and you couldn't get to them? So generally speaking, I feel like going into things, we should be planning to do better, Americans. Why wait until, like, we've seen the examples of what happens to other countries when they get bombed? Why wait for the small attacks to happen? You know what I'm saying? What's your strategy? All right. So, on a brighter note, I wanted to talk about entrepreneurship and what's going on in downtown Baltimore. First of all, I feel like when Black people go into entrepreneurship, it is a thing to harp, hoop, and holler about. We have to overcome so many struggles, and some of us have a lot of knowledge about how to overcome these things. It just depends on who you talk to. And this is why I feel like we should always have that network, because some of us have vital people in our lives that are very resourceful and can help us elevate in ways that other people don't even have a lick of support. But if we had each other collectively, that information would just trickle down to us, naturally, without anybody having to come in and capitalize on the fact that we don't know and come up with these $1,000 mega classes and then you graduate and still don't amount to shit, or things have changed, because a lot of the times people like to capitalize on what's happening now. By the time you go through the class, shit changed or upgraded, and then the information is not even valid no more. I've done that before. Wasted $10,000. Ask the motherfuckers from Leafly and Flip My House. They know what the fuck I'm talking about when they came around um, promising people at dispensaries. That was a money grab for their pockets, for real. And I'm tired of us having to go down and go out like that. You know how much money was in that room collectively between the black people? We could have came together and opened up our own shit, but nobody was thinking alike. And then some people was attached to white supremacy. I'ma say that. I mean, I hate to say it, but the whole, I come from a place where a white motherfucker that don't like you and that's racist, they gonna make sure they show you and tell you. I feel like it's not that much, but when it do happen, they gonna show you. And more now into these recent present days, it's happening so much more around me that people are showing their true colors, whether they just don't like black people as a whole or just black women, period. Because I feel like out of the black uh, well, you know what? It goes both ways because I feel like I mean, the white men threatened by the black men and the white women threatened by the black women. So it go both ways as a total. I'm not going to single nobody out. We all like undesired and the most hated, but yet want to be copied. And I feel like with that, it's a lot of always foots on our neck. And when we do things like go in business and we provide a service for people, we need to have a way of standing out. Now, I feel like this with black people. This is still Black History Month. With black people, when you have businesses, I feel like, you want to be celebratory, but then it becomes egotistical. You have to remain to be in balance. And this is why I don't even like people, period, doing any readings on me or anything like that. Because if people can show you in business when it's on display how greedy or just like egotistical they can become, then just imagine what it's like on a private scale when a person have to offer you a service, a spiritual service. Just imagine that. Now apply that, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, shorty. So I just want to say something. I love it when black people go in business, but at the same time, in the same hand, we always hear our people also complaining about the businesses. When you go in business, I feel like you should stay in a mindset. And I mean, hey, I know everybody different, but if we talking about building a better future as to where we are now, I feel like you should always stay in a collective mindset of making it better for your people. You should make it better for your people, if not anyone else. Because at the end of the day, we do want to shop with you. We do want to become a collective marketplace for each other. So why make the prices higher? I was always shown by example and just through experience that when you keep your prices low, your quality good, and maybe your portion smaller or whatever it has to be in order to align with that pricing, you will get repeat customers. People will always come back to you. They will love you. They will recommend you. But then when you become greedy, you are only going to attract those high ticket buyers that or people that might stumble on a humble. You know what I'm saying? A mistake type of buy or something. It's always going to be a discrepancy for the most part. And this is why we fail because we let greed get to us. We want to make $1 million in a year when we don't put in the thought for other expenditures and things that may go wrong. And yeah, it's good to set big goals, but let's be realistic as well and know that over time you can build that same $1 million. But you need to pay your people well. You need to make sure your services speak to the crowd that you appeal to, whether it's a niche. You are black first, baby. And look at what we had to get through to get there. So why build a business that's not going to support the very same people that you came out of? Because we going to support you. We going to hold you down. And I feel like that's what we all get wrong. We start talking this money shit. And this is where you have to break out of the matrix and also have a spiritual balance. Because if you looking at people in the matrix and all of these things and trying to compare to them and what they did, a lot of these people didn't go through the struggle to get the shit that you may have gotten. And now you want to pop shit and all this on camera like them. And it sabotages your business. And not only that, your reputation. There's no thought put into it. Think about lasting long. and not a short minute. Like we don't want a minute man. Think about that. And then when you get into business, put it in place with those things in gears. And I promise you, it is going to be there. It's going to build legacy because that is something that we've been thriving for. Like we're sick of these white enterprises opening up, having or just different ones, opening up, let's say restaurants for goodness sake, fast food, or just the places like Mission Barbecue, like the almost restaurant like dine-in places. They open up, they give us premium foods and shit. Then in the middle of the year, or let's say a year or two going, even Chick-fil-A, they change their supplier, they downgrade. Like start off like you go, don't try to put it like I feel like that's like you treating us like animals. That's animal shit. That's like if I was to have a dog and wanted to switch my dog from one food to the next. That's what they do. They 60-40 us. Or it might even be a fucking even worse split, 70-30. It might even be worse. Because they understand you put sauce and flavor on it, put it in bread. These motherfuckers gonna eat it. McDonald's know that shit very, very well. So why not, support the local farm where you know the shit real. Make your prices to where as though you can get your supply. Like everybody just work together. You know what I'm saying? Because there are grants out there that will back you up. I didn't know about that until I read these articles. But for any business owners or entrepreneurs out there that have been looking for grants, I do have a couple of grants that I wanted to talk to you or let you guys know about. But I wanted to also bring this to you guys' attention. There is a struggle going on in downtown Baltimore to fill vacant spots. Now I'm looking at Black store owners that is in this article. I feel that these Black store owners are highlighted because they were given grants to have stores in downtown Baltimore. See, again, they use the Black people to be the prototype for the blueprint. One, if these people are able to get into downtown Baltimore and bring in the right traffic, that is going to bring in the other people that is going to capitalize off of the groundwork that these blacks have done in downtown Baltimore. First of all, we know that there are many abandoned storefronts. I mean, homes. It is abandoned. Everything downtown Baltimore. It needs to be renovated. I don't know no other city that I've seen, even on pictures, that has a whole like a black, like everything is boarded up and just not used. But what I've heard is that the property taxes and the things to renovate them are so costly that no one wants to really, no one can afford it that looks like us. But the other people can afford it, but they don't want to purchase into it because of the crime, because of the very same people that they're using to operate these small businesses down there in order to get downtown Baltimore thriving again. Now they talk about Lexington Market, which they've gentrified the fuck out of that. They put every business that will probably have a storefront on other blocks in downtown Baltimore, had it not been for the crime and the black people and the blue hoopla in Lexington Market, in a safe camera, surveilled space. But then they put the black business owners out on the vacant streets in order to gain the crowds. That's just what I gather of that. Now, I do want to go into this article just a little bit, just to let you guys know that things are possible. There are two businesses that are thriving. One is let me find her, because it's so crazy. As I was yeah, this article keeps disappearing. That's crazy. I don't think this article, like they don't want me to get this thing out. This is the second time. Now I'm on foxbaltimore.com. I first saw it on Newsbreak. As I was reading it, it just vanished. They don't want this shit to get out. What I'm going to do is play this. Maybe not. Okay. No, we're not doing that. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, recent taxpayer funded grants. They made sure to throw taxpayer funded in there. That's what always brings me back to car insurance. Whose family is collecting car insurance money? Okay, we don't need you to talk. Okay, so last year, Deja Richardson opened Neon Paint. Now, Neon Paint is a very thriving business. She had a smaller location in downtown. She is saying that she could get upwards to 200 to 400 customers per month. She can also allow larger groups to visit her Baltimore Street location. So if you ever wanted something fun to do, there's a business called Glow in the Dark Paint by Deja Richardson, and it's on Baltimore Street. And you could go into the place and you can throw glow in the dark paint at each other. There's a lot of tourists that do come in, so probably people that look up things to do in Baltimore, they see these things. People that live in Baltimore, we don't know too much about that. But she says she gets a lot of business. So if you ever come to Baltimore, there's know that this is one thing to do that people love to do. She's actually benefiting from this, and she has been given several grants to open up business, which I'm assuming these grants only allow you to open up businesses in downtown Baltimore, which is the catch. Because there was someone that said that they had received a grant from one of these grant um, givers, right? Grant programs, and they had to give the $100,000 back because the renovations inside the building was so expensive. So I'm like, wow. Okay. So let's talk about the grants that she receives. If you are Black in Baltimore, understand that these grants exist. Now, she received several public and private grants, including $100,000 from a federally supported program called Black Boost and Operated Storefront Tendency. It's called Boost. They gave her $100,000 in capital. Okay, this was towards her paint business. Another grant is called. Well, she gained $90,000 through a state funded grant called a Project Restore. So Project Restore is another grant program. Okay, for entrepreneurs. And also, she gained $20,000 through a small business grant from Baltimore Gas and Electric. So I never knew BG&E gave out grants. So there you go, small business owners. There's three different programs that will give you grants. Black owned and operated storefront tenancy, other words, Boost, Project Restore, and Baltimore Gas and Electric. Other Boost grantees haven't seen the same success. Like I said, they've opened up, but was not able to be successful because of the other costs of opening up. And then also, let me see. There's another business, Jimmy Thomas, and he has Media Rhythm Institute on Howard Street. So, Media Rhythm Institute, I'm not sure what that is all about. Maybe like some type of media place, but of course. But here are some more grants. So Boost also helped him out, and the Maryland Arts Council, they gave him a grant as well, along with Baltimore Gas and Electric. The Baltimore Office of Promotion and the Arts, they are another grant giving program, and the Baltimore Children and Youth Fund is another grant giving program. So I'm not really good with grants. I know I tried to look into getting grants before, it didn't quite work with me. And this is why we need the community, because these two entrepreneurs understand how to work these grants. I'm not sure if they have college backgrounds or what kind of background that they have, but I do give them a big kudos for being able to be successful in downtown Baltimore and having a thriving business despite of all of the things that's going on. And they did say that they would rather stay down there and grit it out than to have to move. So I feel like this is a very, very it's a blessing for them, you know. But to some people, they can't be as successful because of all of the other things that stand against them downtown. Not everybody has a success story. But if you have a great business idea and you have the time to apply to some of these grants, I would suggest you as a small business entrepreneur to go downtown Baltimore and get it turned up. I mean, I told everybody that when nobody was listening to me, that I would turn myself the fuck up. And that is what I've done. Despite the haters, haters is always what make it greater, although they make it slower, but slower lasts longer, like the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I don't know. That just came out. Yeah. But okay, so shout out to those two businesses in downtown Baltimore and salute to any business, black owned business, or any business that would love to go downtown and test the obstacles of opening up a business alongside any of these grants. I think it's good. I think you should go for it. Turn Baltimore City the F up. We need things to do. I don't know how many videos that I've seen on TikTok that talk about the non life, the non culture, the non party life, the non things to do in Baltimore City, okay? Make them eat that shit, entrepreneurs. All right, now on the next note, and very last, before we get into, we're going to get into, I know it's Valentine's Day. I don't have a Valentine. I'm not giving a fuck. I don't care about that. I wanted to talk about some things with Valentine's Day. Now, I found a, why are you smelling my butt? I found a document which discusses pagan religious practices in Japan and the West, comparing fertility festivals in both cultures. Now, it argues that Christmas, Valentine's Day, and the other Western holidays have their roots in pagan traditions centered around fertility and sexual symbols. The document urges rejecting pagan traditions and only following God's commandments, as pagan practices lead people away from the truth. And we want the truth because what? The truth will set us free. So I'm here to only talk about the truth of things, okay? The truth. That's why I don't care. I have people trying to, look me up and stuff. Find the truth. Let's talk about it. You find something, air it out. I'll tell you the truth. I hope you found what you're looking for. I have nothing to hide. Okay. So let's talk about this thing because I remember the days when I used to feel out of whack, out of shape, crying about, oh, and I had a boyfriend. Like, why would I cry? Like, well, he should have put some effort maybe into every day being romantic. But I'm like, I have a man at home. My mom didn't tell me about that. Like, you got a man, you should be happy. And with the good man, with the man, a compatible man, you should try to work things out, not really fret over, oh, he didn't do Valentine's Day, he didn't do this, that, or the other, because it's about the other times. And we get bent out of shape. I remember days when I was young, I didn't have Christmas for my baby son, who probably never even really even knew, and I'm crying and drinking bottled 40s of beer and shit with the dudes, crying about not being able to get my son shit for Christmas. It didn't matter, like those things don't matter. And this is the energy siphoning that they do to people because they understand that not only can they get a great amount of energy source, but they can also get a great amount of money currency from us. Remember, energy is the original currency. Our energy is the original currency. So they could get the original energy from us, and they can also get the money energy from us because it's a part of the matrix. Whatever has hijacked this world, I want y'all to understand that even though we do fight against races, black, white, da 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 da, the real thing is that we have been hijacked by a whole nother race, a whole nother being, a whole nother species, okay, which has created this thing against humanity. But because of our differences, they use our differences against us to be able to create more divisions, more distractions and chaos, while they are always getting their ultimate goal fed at the end of the day. So when you understand it's a planetary war, then you will come out of the small mindedness of being combative with of a group of people, a group of people, a group of people. But until we can do that, it's like we still gotta bang around, like we gotta continue to get the information out so it'll click to you a lot more. And then once it's a planetary awakening, we can rightfully use our planetary currency and energy. Okay. The small bickering is childish. It is very basic. And I know this is why I know that this other race of beings have a very specific humor. They have a specific humor. They love the shit. Like they are fucking I see you, motherfucking bitch. You scaly bitch. Okay. So let's get into this. This is an article about the beginning of Valentine's Day or shrines, Shinto shrines and fertility festivals. But I want you to see this picture that they use on the fertility shrines in Japan. This is a black Japanese guy, and they label him Dionysus Bacchus. He has like paws, I think. Deity of wine and orgies. Give us our word debauchery. Ivy leaf wreath. Okay, so I want you to see. Do you see this? Using this backwards camera. This guy is black. You see the Negro um hair? It's just that he has curly hair, right? He's a black one. So let's get into this. And then it says, oh my gosh, we gotta get into some other stuff too. Because underneath of this, okay. Should we call Yahweh God or Lord? It's some other stuff that we're gonna get into. Ooh, baby. Okay. I don't know where one is. It starts off at two. So syncretism, making stuff mean other stuff. Why we don't see. Why we don't see things. The occulted hidden meanings behind all symbols of witchcraft are two levels. Is the esoteric. The true meaning is revealed to those initiated into the upper levels. Okay. And then there's the exoteric, the surface meaning shown to the masses. This is why you didn't know. The symbols they cherish don't mean anything sinister to them because the meaning is occulted, hidden to them. People perceive the exoteric meaning. When we show the esoteric, secret insider's meaning, they react with comments like, it doesn't mean that to me. The Catholic circus adopted every vestige of paganism and revised the meaning to apply to some aspects of the new faith. This is called syncretism and is exactly what Yahweh told us to not ever do. The Christmas trees, wreaths, maypoles, rabbits, eggs, and so on don't appear to be connected with fertility at all to people. The heart shape is repulsive to Yahweh, not because it's the shape of an ivy leaf, but its association with a fertility practice. Think about what it looks like, and you'll see what he sees. So I remember in old cartoons, they used to put the ivy leaf over genitals. So maybe that's a hint. What has been hidden is being revealed and shouted out from the rooftops. Maypoles are witchcraft closely related to all the other fertility customs. The famous Arthur Conan Doyle, a promoter of spiritism, said in one of his books, you see, but you do not observe. Syncretism merges opposing ideas and beliefs, confusing the good seeds teaching with corrupt seeds. GMO zombie seeds corrupt the whole food supply and produces death through the cancerous side effects. Practicing evil traditions produces spiritual drunkenness and opens a person to demonic activity. So people strive to find the truth. I understand, but they cling to traditions instead. This is the leaven referred to the Matith Yahuwah. No, the Matith Yahu. That's the first time I said that, so don't come for me. What is the heart symbol? It is the symbol of debauchery, derived from the name of Roman deity, Bacchus. So let's see what debauchery means. Shit. Let's just be clear. Let's be clear here. What does debauchery mean? Excessive indulgence in sensual pleasures. Why you couldn't read it out loud to me? See, you playing against the team? Okay. His symbol is now promoted in association with Valentine's Day. So sexual, what did it say? Fuck, why does this always happen? Excessive indulgence in sensual pleasures. So the heart means a sexual. God damn it! Why can't I remember that? Excessive indulgence in sensual pleasures. Indulging excessively in sensual pleasures. Okay. His symbol is now promoted in association for Valentine's Day. It was the same symbol of the Greek deity of wine and debauchery, Dionysus. Wine and debauchery, which is excessive messing around. We derive our word debauchery from the Roman form of the deity's name. The heart is the image of an ivy leaf worn as a wreath by Dionysus during his feasting and orgies. Dionysus was honored for the grape harvest, winemaking, fertility tethered orgies, and drunkenness. His symbol for orgy is now utilized by the ivy leaf, often known with an arrow piercing it. Wow. Bacchus corresponds to Nimrod, the archer, Sagittarius, or Cupid. Another name for him is Orion, the hunter. The arrow penetrating the heart symbol is coital. Bacchus is seen in art wearing a wreath of ivy leaves on his head. During organistic rituals, so you see how they put all these names in there? All of those names is confusing. So if you go on into life, right, and then you learning about Greek culture, because I learned Latin when I went to City College. Latin was like one of the things you have to learn coming into there. So, you saying these words and stuff like that, and you learning about the different gods and stuff, and don't know that Dionysus is freaking Nimrod, is Bacchus, is Sagittarius. All these. You could be clearly worshiping something that the origin is a freaking something you ain't supposed to be worshiping. You see what I'm saying? Like, we ain't supposed to be worshiping that. So, and I know I could have probably said it more politically correct, but you have to understand, I'm not one of those ancient teachers. I'm not an ancient teacher, which is why I have to pick up a book. I'm like a futuristic type of person. Okay. I got to pick up a book for this type stuff. Oh my gosh, my arms are sore. Okay. Now, Bacchus corresponds to Nimrod the archer. Okay, we already read that. So yeah, it's confusing shit, but it's all here that it's all the same. Now, Cupid's arrow, another Roman deity based on a Greek one, is Cupid, desire, and his golden arrows. The mythological child of Mercury and Venus. Cupid inflamed erotic desire in all who would offer to him. Cupid and hearts are thought to be good, yet are far from it. Woe to those who call good evil and evil good. And this is saying Yahshua who is 5/20/25. So I don't know what book that's coming out of. It say Yahshua who is. Yashu Yash Hayahu. Yes, Yashua who is. Chapter 5, verses 20 through 25. People program their children with fertility. Orgiastic love is presented by the arrow penetrating the heart shape, occult imagery of the male and female genitalia, interpreted as other objects. So the heart is basically is talking about like the rate, like you being able to go into this. Why I can't say it how it was said in the dictionary. Excessive indulgence in sensual pleasures. That's what the heart is, and the arrow going through that heart. Are you listening, London? You should be. And the arrow going through that heart is the actual orgiastic love. Now, orgiastic love is orgasm. So that means having um I mean not orgasms, I'm sorry, is orgies, is multiple people having sex. Now think about all the horror stories that we hear about Valentine's Day not being so um faithful in between just one couple, you know? Wow. I wanted to use a word like mono something, but I couldn't think of the ending word to it. Okay, now that's crazy. Now the world is triple X rated. The world is triple X rated. When you see a heart shape with an arrow through it, you are really seeing the symbol for orgy. To Yahweh, it is a debauchery. What did I say? I said it's orgy. From Yahweh, it is debauchery. From Bakua, and the highest level of fornication. People simply don't realize what they are training their children to perform. Wow. How many of your kids ended up in these orgiastic love affairs? It's like, okay, that is insane. Great ignorance in them. So, this I say and witness in the Master, that you should no longer walk as the Gentiles walk in the futility of their mind, having been darkened in their understanding, having their estranged from the life of Elohim because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their hearts, who having come careless, have given themselves up to indecency to work all uncleanness with greediness. And this hardening of the heart is what I'm seeing. That is the numbness that I'm seeing in the generations, in the children being able to take that. Someone can tell them that they can shoot them and they don't take that seriously. That is called hardening of the heart. Okay, that is a pure example of the numbness that people should literally be outraged about. The beastly world order. The dragon wages war against the bride and marriage covenant of Mashiach. The dragon also controls all the kingdoms of the world through three estates or orders: clergy, nobility, and commoners. Now, what's so crazy? My neighbor was called a commoner last week during a snow fight. They had a snow fight, and a lady called her a commoner. So I'm interested in seeing what clergy, nobility, and commoners mean, because the dragon also controls all the kingdoms of this world through three estates. Let me take a screenshot so I can give this to her. Little stupid ass lady. Let me, cause she asked me what that meant, and this is great. This is, oh yo, I said they was Masons. I said she probably a Mason. Why am I saying this? Like I swear to gosh, I'm not an ancient being. I feel like I'm more futuristic, but yo, I said that. That's freaky as shit. Now I'm telling her. Okay, so wait, let's see what clergy is. What is clergy according to the kingdoms of this world? Hold up. The dragon also controlled the through the kingdoms of this world through three estates. What is the kingdom's three estates? What is how can I say this? What is clergy when it comes to the three estates that is in the kingdom that the dragon is controlling of this world? Are you not? I mean, can you not pull this up, Google? Like, wow. What is clergy when it refers to the three estates in the kingdom that the dragon is controlling? A team of sleeper agents. What the fuck? I didn't ask that. Look, now, what's a sleeper cell? What is clergy when it comes to the three sta- What is clergy when it comes to the three states that are being controlled in the kingdom from the dragon? Now it's in the context of the three states or the unholy trinity described in Revelation, often interpreted, the clergy or religious component refers to the false prophet or represents apostate religion or religious deception. Wow. So that's one of the ways that is being controlled through clergy. So clergy is false religion, is a false prophet. The other way is through nobility. So let me just take, because this gave me such a hard time. Let me just take the word clergy out and put nobility in. Nobility. Oh, maybe I gotta go here. Okay. So nobility. In the context of kingdom controlled by a dragon, often signifying a supreme draconic magical or dictatorial ruler overseeing three distinct states. Nobility acts as the intermediary class that manages the populace and resources on behalf of the central power. So the intermediary, I would say, is probably freaking it really breaks down. I was going to say the president, but it breaks down to regional managers. Nobility are typically assigned to rule over specific cities, provinces, or territories. They function as governors who uphold the monarch's privileged class. Nobles process special rights not available to commoners, such as tax exemptions, the right to bear arms, or the authority to conduct trials. So, did you guys know that there are three classes? So, within the constitutional rights of everybody's rights, of supposedly being able to bear arms, you have these three fucking classes here. And within those classes, you have the privileged class with the right to bear arms, which is the reason why it's like we have to struggle with constitutional rights because we have this shit going on. Now, you also have enforcers of control because the dragon ruler cannot be everywhere. The nobles ensure that the three states remain productive and compliant. They raise armies, build fortresses, and hold control over the serfs. And this is what I call NPCs. This is the reason why there's infiltrators in small groups. This is the reason why there's sleeper cells or just people that's around to help the three fucking classes to maintain. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I tapped into this shit. Okay, then it even goes even further. Mediocratic or hereditary. All right, mediocratic or hereditary, depending on the specific lord. Nobility might be strictly inherited or they might be ennobled by the dragon as a reward for loyal or military service. So this is someone also enlisted in the military that's plugged into places, which is why like the monitoring does not, it doesn't stop. Like you would think that it would be under a big lens, but this is how they are able to micromanage people groups, things like that. And then you have highborn versus lowborn. A distinct separation is often maintained between the nobility, which is the highborn, and the commoners, which is small folk lowborn, with the former expected to defer in behavior, dress, and speech. In many such systems, the nobles are the warriors or judges of their people, acting as the local court to handle matters on behalf of the supreme ruler. Wow, fucking wow. Let me screenshot this because she needs to know that she's considered lowborn to these hickory white people up the street. They must be nobility or something. Okay, so we can see that the control is okay. Let's go down to the last one, which was commoners. The beastly world order. This is the beastly world order. This is the beastly. So she's a part of that shit, basically. Okay, so what is commoners? Wow, it lets me know what neighborhood I live in, everything. This is the Order of the Dragon, the Order of the Dragon. In the context of the kingdom structured by the traditional three estates of the realm, often depicted as a society under a monarch, or in this case, a dragon ruler. The commoners represent the third estate or the working class. They are the foundation of the economic system, comprising over 95% of the population, yet they are typically the most heavily taxed and least empowered group. The commoners in these three state systems, clergy, nobility, and commoners, are characterized by the following: role, those who work, while the first estate, clergy, praise, and the second estate, nobility, fights or governs. The commoners are responsible for all the productive labor, including the farming, manufacturing, and trading. Economic burden. Commoners support the other two estates through intense labor, feudal duties, and heavy taxation. They pay taxes that the clergy and nobility often avoid. But yet, who do you see always talking about my tax dollars? Look at the charades. Look at the acting. Paid actors. Economic burden. Commoners support the other two estates through intense labor, feudal duties, and heavy taxation. I already said that. Composition. This group is not homogeneous. It includes peasants, serfs, artisans, merchants, and the urban middle class. It's the whole bourgeoisie. So all of those people that you see, the Reverend L. Sharptons, those people, the that's helping the people to get in there. Yeah, there's levels to commoners. Bourgeoisie is what, if you go and watch that movie called Freaknik, it used to come on Cartoon Network, I think. You can probably find it online somewhere. It got T-Pain, Snoop Dogg, Oprah, Bill Cosby, all those in it. Find that cartoon. They probably tried to ban that shit. Power dynamics. Commoners hold almost no political power despite being everything in terms of economic output. And under control. In a kingdom controlled by a dragon, the commoners are often the ones most immediately affected by the need for resources, food, gold, and labor to maintain the ruler's power or support the dragon's presence. So, if you don't think that we're living in a world with a dragon in it, there are dragons, and these dragons are the ones that's helping to keep the this shit and this hierarchy going. Okay. Now the Roman backstory. Oh wait, did I finish reading that thought? So the authoritarian order is called a beast, and Rome is its final form. So that's what they want to change this shit. This new world order is going back into Rome. That's why it seems like time is, a lot of people like, we're not in 2026, we're in 219 whatever. That's why, because they are trying to manipulate us back into those times beast beast rulership. Now, it is a military authority posing as a religious institution. Now, and I can see that. Actually, London, guess who texted me this morning? That church Calvary. They was like, "Is
I
London?"
was thinking about that church. I think I'm a psychic.
No, they was doing witchcraft. They was doing witchcraft on you.
What did they say?
Was you getting on the bus tomorrow? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, London, you ain't going. No, it's a psyop because there's something going on. Like they was just somebody was just online looking me up, looking up our address, looking up everything. Then the next morning it was on the
They
dark
already know
web.
our address.
I know, but it's other things, London. It's other shit that's tying. You don't understand, and I see it because it's how it's coming. All right, never mind. But see, and you might do have a gift, London. But that's the thing. That's why we. That's why you have to be careful who you let in your energy. What the fuck? That's weird. This morning they tried to get somebody else to ask. I'm not. I'm not coming around there like they probably get me around there and try to put that lizard tongue in my ear. Like, ugh. Next thing you know, I'm like coming out like, "Hi, everybody." Like, no, y'all would never even know the difference. Hell no. Okay. The Roman backstory. Pagans worshipped the sun and used fire, the hearth, wreaths, circles, pillars, bells, and many other items seen today as relics of their rituals. Some of the early Roman beliefs came from the Etruscans, Greeks, Egyptians, Persians, and Babel. The central foundation of Roman nationalism began at Roma, the original name of the city and language of the Proto Empire. The Roman mythology began with two orphan children, Romulus and Remus, who were nurtured by a she wolf. I heard this a little bit before. They were honored by a national day of purification involving a wolf, Latin lupus. They preserved their lives. Yeah. So each year on February 15th, this purification festival was known as the Lupercalia or Wolf Festival. The two male youths representing Romulus and Remus ran around the city in the nude, laughing and whipping strips of wolf skins dipped in blood. Unmarried girls exposed their posteriors to be lashed with these bloody wolf hides, believing they would be imbued with fertility. As part of the ritual, every eligible girl's name was collected and placed in a large vat or jar, and all the young men would draw a name from it, and whoever name they pick, this gives the phrase luck of draw. Whoever's name a young man would draw, that girl would be his consort in the festival. This was a solemn religious process. Lupercalia was renamed Valentine's Day and moved to the 14th after being Christianized. Oh my God. So, wait. So, what does consort mean? Let's go see what that means. What does consort mean? So, a wife, husband, or companion in a particular, the spouse of a reigning monarch. So, basically, they would be their consort, and it would probably, I don't know if that would last or it would just be for like the festival. Okay. Now each year, now think about this. This shit, this day of getting whipped on the butt by these two guys that were saved by wolves, and they are basically, celebrating their survival and finding a wife and whipping girls with their naked butts out on a butt with a bloody wolf strip, turned into Valentine's Day. It became Christianized through religion and changed to the 14th, and it became Valentine's Day. They should have shunned the idolatry, but instead adapted it to the new universal Catholic religion. All the behavior and symbols remain intact, but the reasons and the names were changed to hide the origins from the innocent victims. We cannot change people by pointing out their faults. We must sow the seeds of the rain and show them the way. The name and the word are the highest of the knowledge, not Nimrod's world order. When you come into the land which Yahweh, your Elohim, is giving you, do not learn to do according to the abominations of those Gentiles. And that is one thing my mother didn't, she told me, but she ain't say it like that. She ain't say it like that. This is why I'm saying it, okay? Now let's get to what they were doing in Japan. So now we understand a little bit of the history of Valentine's Day and where it came from. And I can't remember this day. Lapis lupus is the day of the wolf or the wolf celebration. Lupercalia. Lupercalia. So Lupercalia was Valentine's Day. Now, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Japan's Shinto shrines. What has been concealed will be revealed. That's why I believe in letting the truth shine. Pagan shrines are only about one thing: sexual fertility. On the first Sunday of April in Kawasaki, Japan, Shinto priests officiate in a festival called Kanamera Matsuri, or Penis Festival. With the same kind of warm hearted fervor, the Western world embraces Christmas and Santa Claus, who is vicariously Nimrod. The Japanese culture celebrates sex. Giant penises and vaginas are paraded through the streets and around the Shinto shrines. At least 95% of the population is Shinto or Buddhist, and they view their behavior as completely normal. Instead of feeling shame, they are profoundly gleeful about their behavior. The Western mind is appalled at such open debauchery, yet they fail to see how they do the same thing with the Christmas tree. It's nothing but a big penis. Ornaments, tinsels, and wreaths. These are the Western versions of penis, testicles, and semen. And vagina wreaths display our debauchery on every door. And trees on display in every window. Yahweh ordered us to never bring such abominations into our homes. Deuteronomy 7, chapters 25 through 26. December 25th was originally the time of the birth of solar deities. The birth nativity of the sun, Nimrod, was was defied as the sun, which is why we see his ancient persona now called Santa flying all around chimneys at this time of year. Nimrod was the first Superman, becoming every sun deity: Krishna, Moloch, Apollo, Zeus, Woden. Our guilt remains if we claim to see, yet fail to teach our children the truth. You hear this, London? Through us, they will inherit truth or the futility of our fathers to the third and fourth generations. Before them who hate Yahweh, Nimrod started it all, a rational delusion. Believe in obedience to Yahweh's Torah that guides us in how to love him and one another. So Yahweh has the Torah. That's what that was. We don't know about Yahweh's Torah. Yahweh, Torah. Okay. All right. It's okay. That guides us to love. Wait. That guides us in how to love him and one another is sinful in any way, is irrational. The one who loves him is the one who obeys his word. And this must be from the Torah 14 or YN 14 and 21. All our transgressions are forgiven, being justified only by Yahshua's blood. We are redeemed completely once for all. Our obedience is the fruit of his spirit living in us, enabling us to live by every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahweh. To think we are wolves howling to get attention because we teach obedience is misidentified we teach obedience is to misidentify the spirit living in us. So if we are not to obey the Torah, why does Malachi 4 1 through 6 tell us to remember it, or else Yahweh will utterly lay waste the whole earth just prior to Yahweh's return on the day of Yahweh? I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the Torah. Yo, we didn't. How many people knew about the Yahweh's Torah? If you knew about Yahweh's Torah, let me know. I didn't know. I don't know what. And and oh shoot. So he's saying that Yahweh is in us. The miss in the okay. Let me get my words right. To think we are wolves howling to get attention because we teach obedience is to misidentify the spirit living in us. We teach obedience is to misidentify the spirit living in us. That is why they try to give us so many spirits. That is why they try to confuse the spirit. It gives us so many spirits that don't align with the true spirit that was already in us. That is where the distraction, the energetic, the spiritual distraction, this is what religion is. It's a misidentification of the true spirit living within us. Do you hear that, London? Do you understand that? When you say God is on the outside, because like Yahweh, okay, this is why we're going to read. This is what I think, because we're going to read the Yahweh Torah and read Yahweh's commandments and testify of Yahweh at Revelation. But it's saying that Yahweh is inside of us. So when we look at things, this is why he said don't idolize like statues and pictures and stuff of him, because he put himself inside of us. But when you don't think that or you're doing the right thing, like if you're not living, first of all, every human, every child of God, every child of Yahweh is going to innately do things right, right from wrong. They're going to already know right from wrong. They're not going to participate because he told us don't participate in this fornication and all of these things. So we know not to sleep with animals and we know to love our neighbor and all of these things, right? But when we watch, let's say, a movie that show people eating people or something like that, it puts another spirit inside of us that will confuse our spirit, and that's only for some people, but it's meant to do that. When you eat certain foods, it's meant to take you away from your God body, so it confuses the spirit. And when you get that instinct inside of your body that be like don't do that, that's your God body working for you. That's your discernment. That's your gift that God gave you to be like, this not right. That's why we know right from wrong without somebody telling us that. But when you are in front of so many different things that's showing you wrong is right and right is wrong, it confuses the spirit and it have you second guessing your own spirit that God gave you as a gift. Do you get it? Because what? All right. So why would your spirit that God gave you as a gift be better than anything that you see? Huh? Because what? Because it already knows right from wrong. So why would God's spirit that He gave you as a gift be better than any other spirit? And why does it know right from wrong? Huh? Because it's from God. It's from Yahweh. And Yahweh's commandments tell us how to live, right? So why would that spirit be better than any spirit shown to us? And Yahweh does what? Right. And who has that spirit? Right. Good. We have that. So and what is that spirit called? Discernment. Okay? I want you to learn that. I'm gonna ask you that a lot so you can say it louder and stronger. So now, so you don't never want to misidentify your spirit unless it's tainted. But right now we have a lot of tainted spirits because it's been shown other spirits. It's been hijacked and possessed. But I'm gonna ask again, if we are not to obey the Torah, why does Malachi 4, 1 and 6 tell us to remember it, or else Yahweh will utterly lay waste the whole earth just prior to Yahshua's return on the day of Yahweh? Why is the dragon enraged at those who obey Yahweh's commandments and testify of Yahshua? So Yahshua, like I said, is the Jesus that they tell us, and Yahweh is the God. Yahshua is, and the thing is, so people who testify of Yahshua will have like the miracles that they've worked. They will obey Yahweh, and how they teach you in religion and in Christianity is that God is Jesus, and that's the God and everything. It's confusing, but Jesus is nobody but Apollo. Yes, London, I am. I know. I'm almost done. I'm down to my last. We're gonna have our party tomorrow, guys, or maybe late night party. Okay. So, all right, I'm almost done. I got like one more part of the page to read. Okay. All right. So, Revelations 22:14 through 15. Blessed are those doing his commandments, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life, and to enter through the gates into the city. But outside are the dogs, and those who enchant with drugs, and those who whore, and the murderers, and the idolaters, and all those who love and do falsehood. Now I want you to see where things are getting like where the dragon is, and where the dragon is getting like he's being enraged at the places that are being um messed with, like they being like earthquakes and floods and things like that. Those people are God's people, where the dragon is, because according to what this is saying is that the people are, the dragon is being enraged at those who obey Yahweh's commandments and testify of Yahshua. So that's something to think about. Look at the current events that's happening. Now, Valentine's Day and its true origins. A Roman orgiastic fertility festival under a new name. And remember, orgiastic means Nimrod's scheme of astrology set up all the rebellious annual festivals we see everyone captivated by today. The patterns of serving the host of heaven became all the Christian holy days. Changing the names of them doesn't cover up their stench. The perspective of the fresh blocks, I mean, hold up. The perspective, the mind, the viewpoint of the fresh blocks us from seeing things as Yahweh sees them. If we abide in his word, we are truly his pupils, and we will know the truth, and the truth will set us free. Rome's fertility festival celebrating Romulus and Remus. Valentine's Day is the occult, hidden fertility festivals of Dionysus, the deity of orgies and wine. Rome called it Lupercalia, Wolf Festival. I think I read that already, didn't I? Did I read that down? Oh, I don't know. I think I started reading it by myself. That's what happened. Okay, they called it wolf festivals. Where was I at? They have spun new reasons for observing this fertility festival and names they call it. They shifted it from February 15th to February 14th. The hearts, arrows, and Cupid idols are being programmed into children in most schools, so they will grow up to teach this behavior to their children. These traditions handed down to us are the curses we inherited from our fathers. We refuse to obey Yahweh's commandments, and the children's teeth are set on edge. This proverb refers to a famine of Yahweh's word. Those who hate Yahweh are those who do not obey his commandments, but turn aside as dogs to the idols of the nations by their behavior. The second commandment shows this, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a Jesus El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing kindness to thousands to those who love me and guard my commandments. And that's from Ex Shemoth 20. All origins matter. The things the world loves are oftentimes things Yahweh despises because he knows the true origin of them. The popular custom of Groundhog's Day, divination by means of observing the emergence of hibernating animals to prognosticate the arrival of spring, is nothing we should be doing. Yet people seem to pay attention in blissful ignorance to every pagan thing. In Inauguration Day, from the custom of augury, divination uses potence based on the flight patterns of birds or eggs, is a vestige of ancient Greek and Rome. Augurs were the only ones allowed to foretell future events, to guide the rulers and military commanders to make their decisions. The first king of Yisrael consulted a whisperer, the witch of Ednor, to predict the outcome of a future battle. He turned away from Yahweh and went the way of Nimrod. Rebellious is as witchcraft. The old adage, it doesn't mean to me, won't fly when the reapers come to burn all things offensive. Yahweh makes the omens of the diviners into foolishness. As we are being refined, we purge the dross out of our lives. I remember when I had eliminated all icons, such as crosses, from my life over 30 years ago and began a journey out of men's traditions by obeying the things I saw written in Yahweh's word. The truth is like a bright light and exposes the darkness, but the Gentiles find the darkness very pleasing until someone shines the truth on them with what things mean. And this is why they got rid of all the old YouTubers who was good at that. Inherited only lies. Our fathers have inherited only falsehood, futility, and there is no value in them. That comes from the Yerme Yahu 1619b. The simple shall inherit folly, but the clever are crowned with knowledge. Proverbs 14 and 16. So, with that being said, that was a lot to go over. Let me see. We're going to tap into that a little bit. Okay. So, guys, that is, some history about Valentine's Day. So if you don't feel like, you got your Valentine's Day's worth, you feel like you've been slighted this Valentine's Day, you feel like you've been cheated or whatever, and Valentine's Day did not happen, not one heart came in your house, thank Yahweh and praise yourself. Well, praise Yahweh and thank yourself that you were able to hold Yahweh's commandment and not bring a penis into your house that is an indirect way of saying let's have an orgy, especially if it has an arrow going through it. Okay. Understand that there are a bunch of things that are out now to grab your attention, but you have to ask the questions. That's the only way that you'll ever get to the truth. Ask the right questions, and the truth shall set you free. And on that note, I'm going to talk about our. Mm, where did I even put it? Our weekend recap party. Our weekend recap party will have to, it's either going to be tonight or tomorrow because I have to do my daughter's hair, so that's gonna take up time. Hair weekend, mine's probably get done. And yes, I'm looking for the person that I'm not even going to say. I'm not even going to say it. All right. On that note, guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you when it's time to turn up for our party. Okay. Love you guys.